बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम व खुशामदीद नाजरीन। मैं हूँ आपकी मेज़बान नसरीन अख्तर और बर्मिंघम पब्लिक हेल्थ की तरफ से पेश कर रही हूँ आपके लिए हेल्थ मैटर्स का प्रोग्राम। जैसे कि आप जानते हैं, हम एवरी वीक आपके लिए एक नई हेल्थ की टॉपिक लेके आते हैं जिसमें हम आपकी और आपकी फैमिली की सेहत के बारे में एडवाइस और गाइडेंस देते हैं। ऐसे ही हमारी आज की जो टॉपिक है वो फॉल्स प्रिवेंशन के बारे में है। फॉल्स प्रिवेंशन यानी कि गिरना, अगर आप गिर जाएं। और ये जो फॉल्स प्रिवेंशन की आज की हम टॉपिक के बारे में बात करेंगे वो टारगेटेड है कि अगर आप 60 यानी कि 60 साल की उम्र से ज़्यादा है तो आपके ज़्यादा चांस हो सकते हैं गिरने के लिए। आज के जो हमारे 3 स्टूडियो गेस्ट हैं वो हमें बताएंगे कि फॉल्स प्रिवेंशन की क्या वजह है, क्यों वो उस उम्र में होती है, इसको प्रिवेंट करने के कौन से तरीके हैं, और अगर आपको इसके बारे में कोई भी वरी है तो आप कहाँ जा सकते हैं एडवाइस और गाइडेंस के लिए। जो आज का हमारा प्रोग्राम है वो फॉल्स प्रिवेंशन के बारे में है। चलते हैं हम अपने स्टूडियो गेस्ट की तरफ से और मैं आपको इंट्रोड्यूस करती हूँ कि आज इस डेडिकेटेड टॉपिक फॉल्स प्रिवेंशन के बारे में हमें कौन बताएगा। और हमारे साथ स्टूडियो में मौजूद है। Welcome to the program, Jonathan.
Thank you,
Jonathan, you're the consultant geriatrician.
That's correct. Thank you, Naz.
Welcome to the program. Alison, welcome to Health Matters.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Assalamu alaikum, Kamran.
Wa alaikum assalam, Nasreen.
And thank you all for coming on to this program for Health Matters to discuss this important topic about false prevention. Jonathan, I wanted to ask you, at the beginning of the program, I was looking at some of the stats around false prevention, and I think I read that it was something like 4 million people over the age of 65 people may end up in hospital due to a fall.
That's right, Naz. It's a very common problem. The most common reason for an older person to be admitted to hospital as an emergency will be following a fall, and that leads to 4 million bed days a year in hospital. So not 4 million people being admitted, but 4 million beds being occupied by people over the course of a year. If you think about people over the age of 65, which actually isn't that old these days, of course, 1 in 3 people over the age of 65 will have at least one fall in a 12-month period in a year. And as people get older, that risk of falls goes up. And at people over 75, it's more like 40, maybe even 50%. And there's a lot of people who fall that we don't know about. I work in a hospital, so I see the people who've fallen and injured themselves or been unable to walk afterwards, but most older people who've fallen don't get as far as hospital, maybe don't have an injury, may or may not tell their GP about it. And I think a program like this is important to help underline how important falls can be for older people.
So would you say that it's very common in terms of you are very likely to fall if you are over 65, because by some of the facts that you're quoting, it does seem that it is quite risky at that age?
It is very common, yes. I mean, not that we would want to discourage older people from being active and from walking, and I'm sure come on to that later, but falls are a common problem as people get older, yes.
And where would we say that most falls occur?
The majority of falls occur in the home because that's where people spend the majority of time, but people can fall absolutely anywhere, and where they're falling may have a bearing on what we do to try and reduce that risk of falling. But mostly it falls in the home. There's lots of activities in the home that increase the risk of falling, and there's lots of areas of the home that are potentially a bit less safe. And I know we'll be talking about that in a bit, I think. And
why do people fall?
How long have you got? Falls are a complex problem. For a young person who falls, it's generally going to be an accident, a trip or a slip. You know, I've fallen over in the last few months, running up some stairs, being less cautious than I should have done. I didn't hurt myself, and it's embarrassing. But everything's fine. As people get older, their ability to walk and maintain their balance starts to deteriorate. Not for everybody, but it's more likely as people get older they'll start having problems with their walking, with their balance, with their ability to stay steady, and also their ability to react to a sudden change. So if I slip and lose my balance, I'll probably be able to save myself and correct myself. As people get older, their reflexes are not so good, so they may not be able to save themselves in time, although a lot of older people will also say they had near misses, and those are important as well.
So you mentioned age. Is there any other personal factors that can contribute to falls?
So with older age comes often medical problems, and a lot of those can increase the risk of falling. For instance, part of avoiding falling is having good balance. Balance depends on having good eyesight, having good nervous system, having normal balance sensors in our inner ears. We have balance mechanisms to help keep us upright. And also our feet and our legs are important for keeping us up as well. So if you have problems with your eyesight, that will make you more liable to miss obstacles or not miss obstacles, I suppose, more likely to have problems balanced there. Your ears may deteriorate. Everybody knows that hearing tends to get worse as people get older, but equally the balance part of the ear also will often deteriorate. And then also, as people age, they will have problems with their feet, with their ankles, with the joints in their legs, and that will make walking potentially slower or more difficult. And then the nervous system also can deteriorate. So this is all just with age itself, although these are not necessarily parts of the aging process, but due to diseases that become more common as you get older. Added to that, there are a number of diseases that make people more liable to fall. So people who've had a stroke, whereby a leg or an arm isn't working so well, that's going to make you less mobile and more at risk of falling. Lots of other brain diseases, things like Parkinson's disease, dementia, all of those can affect people's ability to walk and stay steady.
So if any of our viewers watching this programme have any of those conditions, it's even more important for them to kind of look out for to make sure that they don't fall or try and prevent themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, almost any physical condition, anything that affects somebody's physical well-being can increase the risk of falling. I can't think of any conditions that make you less likely to fall. But that doesn't mean that just because a person has had a stroke or another medical problem doesn't mean they will fall, but their risks will be that much higher. But set against this, of course, there are lots of very active older people who are still maintaining good levels of activity and safety as they age. We're well aware of people still running marathons in the 90s, so let's not just assume that old age always comes accompanied by these problems, but it is more likely, yes.
That's very interesting, and a lot of the issues that you've mentioned there, Jonathan, are kind of I would term under the medical come under the medical bit. Kamran, मैंने आपसे पूछना था that Jonathan's mentioned some of kind of the medical reasons. कोई environmental factors भी है that can lead to a person falling?
बिल्कुल है. पहली बात तो ये clear करनी चाहिए कि when we talk about environment, environment different लोगों के लिए different बात होती है. हमारे लोगों के लिए जो environment की बात हम कर रहे हैं वो घर के बारे में है, ठीक है. बाहर के बारे में, बाहर में fall भी हो सकती है, लेकिन हम घर के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. अब देखिए ना, आपने कहा था कि घर में high risk होती है fall के लिए, और यहाँ बहुत से जो हम कहते हैं ना hazards वो हो सकते हैं. For example, there's many things like loose wiring, loose mats, loose rugs around the home. Also within a home, the most common room where falls tend to occur is the bathroom. अब देखिए ना, bathroom में obviously पानी भी होता है, extra risk हो जाती है, और जब कोई bath से बाहर निकलने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो पानी के होने से रिस्क बढ़ जाती है.
हाँ, वो बंदा स्लिप हो सकता है, तिलकने की ज़्यादा चांस हो सकती है. जी.
और बातें घर में ये भी हो सकती हैं कि जो लाइटिंग होती है ना, बहुत ये एक बहुत एक्स्ट्रा हैज़र्ड हो सकता है कि जो लाइटिंग अगर वो सही ना हो, and especially if someone's visually impaired as well, you know, the risk is further increased as well. So
by lighting आपका क्या मतलब है कि lights on होनी चाहिए या off होनी चाहिए या proper lighting होनी चाहिए?
Proper lighting honi chahiye. You don't want to have, obviously, you know, the lighting within the property it needs to be adequate and obviously illuminates all areas, especially if there's any dark areas where risks, you know, could be potentially you know, there.
Okay, so आपने पहले ये बताया about the bathroom. तो जो हमारे व्यूअर्स हैं जो ये प्रोग्राम देख रहे हैं वो कैसे प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं कि उनके बाथरूम में कोई ट्रिप या एक्सीडेंट या फॉल ना हो?
पहले तो मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि जब भी कोई पानी हो, ठीक है, बहुत ज़रूरी है कि वो क्लियर अप हो जाए। जो होता है ना मॉपिंग, उसको स्पिलेज जो हो ना उसको क्लियरिंग करनी बहुत ज़रूरी है, ठीक है। Moving on from that, there's a lot of things that an occupational therapist can provide. Okay. I've got an example here. ये जो है ये सिंपल जो चीज़ें होती है ना, ये फॉल्स के लिए या गिरने के लिए, ठीक है, बहुत फ़ायदेमंद हो सकती है, ठीक है। ऐसी जो एक चीज़ हो सकती है, इसको या अपने वॉल पे लगाया जा सकता है, ठीक है। इसके ज़रिए से we can hold on and get that extra support and minimize the risk.
And this is for the bathroom?
It's a grab rail. It can be fitted anywhere within the property, but as we're talking about the bathroom, I'm just referring to the bathroom area. But as occupational therapists, these types of rails, we place them in front of, door entrances, next to toilets. So there's many applications. It just depends, following an assessment, where the hazard has been identified. And if we find this to be supportive, then we'll install it.
ठीक है, और आपके पास और भी बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, आप उनके बारे में कुछ बता सकते हो?
जी बिल्कुल. We have some simple things, ठीक है. ये मैं सभी से ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि ये नहीं है कि जो मार्केट है वहाँ से ये चीज़ें मिल सकती हैं, ठीक है, और ये बहुत सिंपल सी चीज़ है जो आपकी मदद कर सकती है, ठीक है। इंग्लिश में इसको कहते हैं हेल्पिंग हैंड या रीचर, ठीक है। So as you can see, quite simply, it's basically something to allow you to pick things up, okay. So obviously when someone is at risk of falls, bending down and picking up things off the floor becomes even more difficult. And also while you're doing that, people tend to lose their center of gravity or may get dizzy.
हाँ, कभी-कभी बैलेंस लूज हो जाता है जब आप उठाने के लिए जाते हैं।
तो ये एक सिंपल सी चीज़ है जिसके ज़रिए से हम मदद कर सकते हैं. So and these are becoming widely available on the market now. So I would encourage everyone who is at risk they should have one of these in their home.
Okay.
Another thing that we've got here, it's called a shoehorn. Okay. जब हम आगे से बात करेंगे तो फुटवेयर की ज़रूरत, अच्छे फुटवेयर की ज़रूरत भी हम बात करेंगे. जी, और ये जो चीज़ है, it helps people put their shoes on properly.
ये बहुत बड़ी है, मैंने छोटी देखी हुई है, पर आपकी काफ़ी बड़ी है.
छोटी भी हो सकती हैं. It depends on how good your reach. It depends on how good your reach is. Yeah. So I would, if there's shorter versions available, it's whatever you're comfortable with. Okay. But what it allows and assists with is ensuring that you put your footwear on correctly. ठीक है. वो जो पीछे होते हैं ना heels, ठीक है, अगर वो सही नहीं लगे हुए तो फिर रिस्क हो सकती है. ठीक है.
ठीक.
And the final thing that I'm just going to talk about at this stage before we move on to the others is something called non-slip strips. Okay. देखिए फिर भी कुछ complicated नहीं है. Okay. Now bathroom ये bath में भी लगा सकते हैं. वो जो कहते हैं ना, वो जो non-slip bath mat होता है ना, जी, these can replace that. Okay. Because sometimes with the bath mat, the corners can become frayed, and that can cause a risk to tripping in the bath. But these simple strips can be placed in the bath or in the shower. Okay, and they'll provide a non-slip surface.
And ये वही काम करती हैं क्योंकि ये बहुत छोटे लगते हैं. वो तकरीबन वो बाथ तो काफ़ी बड़े होते हैं.
जी होते हैं. तो क्या होता है ना, ये स्ट्रिप जो है ना हम प्लेस करते हैं at different levels, at different distances,
in the bath.
And then they will act like a bath mat as well. Okay. So point तो ये नोट करना है कि बहुत चीज़ें हैं, ठीक है, जो मदद कर सकती हैं. लेकिन it's important that people actually find out about what kind of equipment can assist them and get an assessment to support them in their own home.
Okay, Cameron. We've been through a lot of equipment there that can help people to prevent them from falling. Now, what are our recommendations? When should people have this equipment? As soon as they're 65? Before? Who makes the decision? Do they make it? Does the GP tell them? So if we've got viewers out there and they've seen some of the equipment, what are we saying to them in terms of when they should go out and purchase this equipment?
There's got to be a balance between trying to improve people's safety and also promoting independence. If we think about people, particularly in their late 60s, early 70s, a lot of them will still be very independent. Some will still be working and would be horrified at the idea that somebody might come and cover their house with bits of equipment that they may not need for another 10 years.
Yes.
But there'll be people also who are 65 who've had a stroke already, who are becoming frail and needing assistance with things where this sort of equipment could be very useful. So it very much depends on the individual. I don't think we would recommend putting in pieces of equipment or assistance for people who are really still very fit and independent. But the time to start thinking about it is when people either have had a first fall, particularly if they've had 2 falls in a year, or if they've had a fall with some kind of injury, even if it's a minor injury. These are people who are likely to go on to have further falls and further problems because of falling. As I say, if I fall, I'm likely just to dust myself down and say, no harm done. But an older person is much more likely to injure themselves from a fall. And so the first fall needs to be taken seriously. And a second fall or a fall with injury absolutely has to be acted upon. And we would encourage people, if they've had either 2 falls or a fall with injury, and if they don't feel they've had any attention given to their risk of falling, those are the sort of people who should, I think, go to their GP or refer themselves into the services that are available, depending on where they live and what services are there. But like I say, we don't want to take away people's independence prematurely. That would be just as wrong.
And I think that's the important point, that we want to help people prevent it, but what we don't want is that just for people to think that 65, that's it, I fall into the old. I'd be thinking, oh, 65 is just only around the corner, another 10, 20 years and we're there, and you know, I'll need all that equipment. So it's getting that balance right. अगर आप ने जिस तरह जॉनसन ने कहा कि अगर आपका एक फॉल हुआ है या एक फॉल विद इंजरी या 2 या 3 फॉल हुए हैं, तो फिर आपको रिस्क लेना चाहिए and maybe think about कौन से equipment available है that may help you and may also prevent future further falls.
जी बिल्कुल. और व्यूअर्स को वरी होना नहीं चाहिए. ज़रूरी बात यह है कि जितना इंफॉर्मेशन है वो ले लें और असेसमेंट जो अवेलेबल है वो करा लें. ठीक है. The outcome of the assessment might not mean all of this equipment. It might just mean a little bit of advice. And if that advice can help any future falls, then it's very important.
Yeah. So आज का हमारे viewers के लिए एक important point ये है कि get the assessment done. Right, the assessment bit is important. वो important है, assessment करवा लो. शायद आपको इन चीज़ों की ज़रूरत ही ना पड़े, लेकिन maybe आपके लिए 1 या 2 चीज़ें, maybe not all, फ़ायदेमंद हो, तो फिर आप वो 1 या 2 चीज़ें ले सकते हो.
जी बिल्कुल.
Okay, thank you, Kamran. Jonathan, you've mentioned falls, and we've spoken quite a lot about falls, and we've begun to touch on how falls can impact on people. You know, what is the impact that falls can have on a person?
The most important thing from my point of view as a doctor is will be the physical consequences of falling, so injuries in particular. Any fall can result in an injury, and in particular we're thinking about broken bones. As people get older, they're more likely to suffer broken bones from what might seem a simple fall. There's no such thing as a simple fall really, but a sort of fall that you or I wouldn't expect to break something, but as people get older they become more brittle, their bones are more liable to break. The sort of injuries we see, I'm conscious that Alison's probably better qualified to talk about this than me in some of these things, but keeping it very simple, the sort of injuries people will see, people in their middle age, whatever middle age is these days, where people are still likely to put their hands out to stop themselves falling, they may get a broken wrist.
Okay.
As people get a bit older, maybe into their 70s and 80s, they may not have the speed of reaction to put their hands out, and so they fall more like a log, I suppose, and then they're more likely to break their hip, the top of their thigh bone, or they may break the top of their arm, the shoulder, or they may injure their head. Probably the two most serious consequences of falling will be a broken hip or a direct blow to the head, causing bleeding on the brain. Both of which, in most cases, will be treatable, but it will require a spell in hospital, often significant surgery, and not always a full recovery.
Alison, Jonathan mentioned you that you may be able to comment further on it. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was osteoporosis.
Yes, certainly. I've brought some models with me today. This is normal bone density. This is what the inside of the bone looks like. And this is a very healthy 25-year-old's bone. There's lots of cross structures there, and you can imagine if you did have a fall that Jonathan explained there, where you reach your hand out, that there's lots of structure here that would be able to take the impact. So we move on to the next one, and this one is quite severe osteoporosis. And as you can see, that there's the structure here, there's not so many cross structures or structures there, and actually sometimes holes can occur within the bone, and this is very frail bone. So you can imagine if you then fell with your bones like this, that actually that is when fractures are more likely to occur.
And if we hold them both up together,
absolutely, you can really see the difference. Very, very dense bone to very frail bone without the structure there that would make it more likely for you to fracture.
And thank you, Alison. We'll speak a bit more about that in the second half of the program. नाज़रीन, अब हमारी छोटी सी कमर्शियल ब्रेक का टाइम हो गया है। आज के पहली हाफ ऑफ फूल्स प्रिवेंशन प्रोग्राम ने कमरान, जॉनसन और एलिसन ने आपको बताया फूल्स प्रिवेंशन के बारे में कि किस उम्र में आपकी ज़्यादा लाइकली चांस है फॉल होने के लिए, और कमरान ने हमें इक्विपमेंट दिखाया कि कौन कौन सी इक्विपमेंट हेल्प कर सकती है। एलिसन ने हमें बताया कि जो आपकी बोन डेंसिटी है वो किस तरह फ़र्क करती है इफ़ यू आर 25, अगर आप 25 साल के हैं इन कंपैरिजन टू अगर आप 65 ईयर ओल्ड है। और जॉनसन ने हमें ये बताया कि डिफरेंट जो मेडिकल कंडीशंस है वो उनसे किस तरह लाइकली है कि अगर आपको स्ट्रोक हुआ है या आपको डिफरेंट मेडिकल कंडीशंस हैं, सो मे बी आप ज़्यादा लाइकली हो कि आपकी फॉल होए। चलते हैं हम अपनी छोटी सी कमर्शियल ब्रेक की तरफ और फिर मिलते हैं ब्रेक के उस पार।